They wanted me to be there, and I wanted to be there, and I came in from Florida. And what a family, the Diller family. And they lost a hero, really. I mean, just a hero. They're devastated. The family is devastated. The police force is devastated. The whole country feels this way. And it's happening more and more, and it's really a lack of respect for law and order, and we have to have law and order back in our country.
That was former President Donald Trump reflecting on the murder of New York police officer Jonathan Diller after his wake earlier today. The officer was killed in the line of duty on Monday evening by a career criminal with a rap sheet a mile long.
But President Biden, who didn't receive an invitation to the wake, has been doing his very best to contrast himself with Trump, posting this on his campaign. He posted this campaign video on X this morning with the caption, quote, "I'll tell you this, there's a difference between the two candidates in this election," end quote.
But here's the reality. Biden's hosting elite fundraisers in Manhattan, while President Trump grieves with members of law enforcement and a slain hero's family.
Joining us now to react is National Review Editor-in-Chief Rich Lowry, along with the author of Second Class, journalist Batya Ungar-Sargon. Rich, I want to come to you first. I thought it was interesting in that interview with Brian Kilmeade. You know, Donald Trump is calling out crime. He's saying the name of the fallen officer and calling him an American hero. And I think that's the way so many Americans feel. And again, whatever you think of Donald Trump, today he's striking a chord with so many Americans.
Absolutely. This is a great split screen for Trump to have President Biden in New York City as well, when he's up there in the New York City area, and Biden is going to this record-setting fundraiser with a bunch of celebrities and prior Democratic presidents, and Trump is going to the wake of this hero police officer, victim of a terrible tragedy, grappled with this guy to the end, struggled to get control of the weapon he was shot with, just an absolute hero. To go there and to make the statement he did afterwards, it's just Trump at his very best, pungent, commonsensical. So this was a good day. Terrible occasion, awful occasion, but just in sheer political terms, a good day for former president.
Batya, this fundraiser at Radio City Music Hall, just on its own, is a little disgusting to me because of all of the hardship and suffering that's been inflicted on the hard-working Americans by this president. And for them to be selling photographs, $100,000 it costs to get a photograph with Biden, Obama, and Clinton. I asked Sean, do you get a discount if Bill Clinton grabs your ass? But then to make matters worse, Karine Jean-Pierre today would not say Officer Jonathan Diller's name. And then she turned it and said, this is about gun violence, when New York City has the strictest gun laws in the land. But she had to make a political statement but could not utter Jonathan Diller's name.
You know, in my book, Second Class, I profiled a Black NYPD detective. And one of the things he said to me was how frustrating it is when Democrats say the problem are the guns. He said to me, the guns don't shoot themselves, right? The criminals use the guns to shoot people. You know, everybody has fundraisers, but this split screen represents the political realignment that we're seeing in real time here, to where the Democrats who used to represent people like cops, used to represent the working class, now represent 9 of the 10 richest counties in America. 65% of Americans who make more than $500,000 a year now are Democrats. And meanwhile, Republicans represent the vast majority of the working class. That's what we're seeing here. And how did that realignment happen? The rogues gallery at this fundraiser, Presidents Obama, Clinton, and Joe Biden, were the people really responsible for selling out the working class. And now, if you have $200,000, you can get a picture with all 3 of them.
Yeah.
No doubt. All right, let's move to this because Jon Stewart, host, is letting his Trump derangement syndrome get the best of him, as he usually does. He's slamming the former president in an on-air tirade Monday over his New York City civil fraud case. Watch this.
The Trump organization, it died as it lived. Fraudulently. For a decade, whenever Trump wanted to get a loan or make a deal, he would illegally inflate the value of his real estate. We all do it. I mean, in my license, I'm not listed as 5'7". Victimless! It's a victimless crime!
The New York Post called out the comedian's hypocrisy. Nothing new if you're in the limelight, and in response, he seethed. Quote, "Oh my God, I've been caught doing something not remotely similar to Trump. I guess all I need to do now is start a fraud college, steal classified docs, bankrupt casinos, pay hush money, discriminate in housing, cheat at golf, and foment insurrection, and you'll revere me." So, Rich, what I find interesting in how stupid Jon Stewart is you can't sell your house and tell the bank, this is the value of my house. The bank actually verifies how much your house is worth before they give you a loan. Mm-hmm. And Jon Stewart thinks that Donald Trump duped Wall Street, that they took his valuations at face value. They didn't actually do their due diligence. That's how stupid this man is. And he knows better than this. He's doing it to make a political point, and it's shameful.
Sure. I mean, the sale of his house shows that the value of real estate is inherently subjective, right? You can assess it at one price, but if there's one person who disagrees and is willing to pay more for it, it's suddenly worth a lot more. And that's what happened with his apartment or whatever it is. Good for him. But he poured scorn in that segment on the idea this was a victimless crime that Donald Trump is accused of. And it was. You had bankers saying, of course, we rely on our own evaluations. We're not going to take the lendee's word for the value of the property. We're going to assess the risk ourselves. And no one lost money. Everyone made money on these deals, and he was targeted for political reasons. Letitia James promised to go after him in her election campaign and unfortunately delivered on that.
It was that. Again, you can't be a victim if you make money. Being a victim is losing money. But Batya, what made me laugh is the Post writes this one article, and Jon Stewart just unleashes this untreated mental illness that he has about Trump. And I went, oh, here we are. This is what he really thinks. And again, it's just, couldn't some pharmaceutical company come up with some pill or shot for this in the last 4 years?
Dakin, you're in rare form tonight. This is just great. I have to say, Jon Stewart really was the father of the smug, sneering liberalism that took disdain for the average American and dressed it up as virtue, and then really participated in the silencing of the other side. You remember the show Crossfire was a great show. You had one person who was a Democrat and one person who was a Republican, and they would debate each other, and the American people got to hear how the other side sounds and what they say. And you know where the only place left that has debate is left? It's Fox News, where you really do have liberals come on and defend the Democratic position. That doesn't really exist anymore on CNN because Jon Stewart showed up and made fun of it because liberals just don't want to hear how the other side sounds. They don't want to hear the other position because they know they can't really compete with it.
They don't like debate. Now, you guys, you've heard of Trump derangement syndrome. Well, this election cycle, say hello to RFK derangement syndrome. The ladies at The View have already come down with a hard case of it. Watch.
Somebody has to ask him, why are you doing this? Why do you want to destroy the election and hand it to Trump if possible?
Yeah, but I mean,
he's a Kennedy. His forefathers are rolling over in their graves with this. His own family is telling him.
But a lot of people...
And we already have one clown in the race. Do we need two of them?
Rich, you there? Did you hear the video?
Yeah, so look, there's a lot more where this came from. The Democrats are freaked out about RFK. I think it's a little hard to tell who he's going to hurt most. And maybe at the end of the day, it doesn't really hurt either because he'll be pulling for the so-called double haters that don't like Trump or Biden, and his number probably will decline as this race goes on. But they are concerned about it. The White House has hired a team to solely attack third-party candidates, including RFK, and The View is, as always, just aping what the Democratic operatives are doing.
RFK is a liberal, Batya, and they hate him.
Honestly, I have to say, I a little bit agree with them. I don't know why he's running. He, to me, is indistinguishable from Joe Biden. He's very far left on climate and on a host of other issues. The real centrist candidate in this race is Donald Trump. I'm sorry, he's the consensus candidate. He has the views of 70% of Americans. This whole infighting between RFK and Joe Biden is just another way of hiding that central truth. And you know what? It's time to call it out.
Let's call it out. Batya, Rich, thank you guys for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Boom
you.
shakalaka.
Boom.
Batya from downtown.